What's up, guys? It's Brendan and I'm back. It's been a long time since I've done a demo, but I thought I would do one today. It's minus 20 here today, so it's cold and gross. So I'm tucked in the house and I needed to take a break from work, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a little amp demo. A couple of years back, I encountered a gentleman locally in my town here, and he's an amp builder. It goes by the name Phaez, Phaez, and he's got a lot of amps that are sort of like clones or similar builds to other amps. So like 800s or Soldanos, but there's always a bit of a twist. So he likes to go in and kind of refine the things he likes about the amps and tweak the things he doesn't. And he often does more of like a lunchbox version of them. But anyways, at the time I was using a high watt DR103 for my live gigs. I love that amp. I still love that amp. But it's a pricey amp to lug around and a big amp. So sometimes it was overkill for what I was doing. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if this gentleman can build me something that would sort of replicate and replace for smaller live gigs my high watt. And so he built me what is called the Blackwater. It's a single channel amp. It's just to my right here. Maybe I'll overlay a photo of it, but it's just a volume, tone, presence, and depth. That's it. There's no more controls on it. It's a really kind of geared to pedal platform style amp. It's around 20 watts. It's a very loud 20 watts. But the interesting thing is the kind of tone control on it is a 5-position control. So it's not a gradual thing. Each position is a different kind of EQ, and it's again loosely based on my high watt clean channel. Anyways, fast forward till a few weeks ago, I saw that he had posted another amp of his that he was working on, and so I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm interested in checking out more of your stuff. Is there anything that you'd like me to do a little demo of? And so he sent me home with his M800 Plus. So I'm sure you can figure out that's a kind of his take on the classic JCM 800 with his tweaks and with his revisions. And then again, it's a smaller lunchbox size version. So this is EL 84s instead of 34s. And it's 18 watts instead of 100. The control layout is a little different again, so you've got gain, a bright switch, and then a 3-position control which goes from kind of like a low gain crunch to a little more, and then kind of your full tilt max saturation, and then treble, bass, and mids, master, and a presence control. The thing I did notice right away, and again, I'm usually using rectifiers or my high watt or 5150s, big 100 watt or 120, 150 watt amps that have massive sound, but also a lot of low end. This amp does not have a lot of low end. So for my demo today and what I recorded with it, I have bass cranked. If I was having Randy do an amp for me particularly, I would definitely have him kind of change where the bass sits, and not so much sits, but how much is available. I would honestly probably double that. But I know Marshalls, compared to a lot of what I use, are usually on the thinner side compared to like a Boogie or something like that. But this felt a little thinner than I would have hoped. And I found too, the master, when you change the master control, past about 2 or 3, the amp really starts to kind of break up, like tonally. It really changes. I don't know if I can even, I'll try and do something here and I'll show you. So where the EQ sits really shifts with the master, and I just think it's because it's a lower watt amp. As you crank that master, it just starts to kind of break down a little bit, and not in a functional way, but just sonically you've kind of hit your limit a little bit. So I started to think, is this an amp for me? And I was like, probably not in a gigging sense or tracking for my own personal stuff. But I do frequently work with an artist out of Toronto. Her name is Christy Palace. If you don't know her, check her out. She's got a lot of great music. But she has more of like a pop influenced kind of Avril Lavigne meets a little more of a pop edge to it. And I was starting to think, because of the amp's a little bit more like smaller, boxier sound, it would fit more into the context of a mix for a project like that. Again, it's not high gain, it's not a heavy down-tuned thing where you want kind of a little more grunt and muscle or maybe even a little more low-end handling capacity. It sits more in that pop rock kind of space, I think, a little better. So what I did was I went through an old track I had done with Christy. It's actually a Kesha song, which is hilarious, but we sort of did a punk rock version, I guess, of the song. And so what I did is I retracked guitars quickly using the Phaez M800 Plus, and this is the result. So you'll have to let me know what you think. If you are interested in more of the Phaez amps, definitely reach out to them on Facebook. They are pretty active over there, and again, Randy's built a couple really interesting amps that I've encountered. My Blackwater that I have is an incredible amp and has been very, very versatile, and was really built to my spec, which was fantastic. And I know he's doing that for other people locally and abroad. So if you've got an interesting request, give him a shout. But anyways, here's the track recorded with the Phaez M800 Plus. Hope you dig it. Cheers.